Previously on War Thunder Infantry. The gameplay really feels shallow. It's got AIs, or even cared for at all. There's clunky animations, the hit detection's really weird, the sound design is really rough. I don't even know if you guys could tell, but through this entire video, half my sounds were not working, which I totally understand there's gonna be bugs, but how does the sound not even work? Alright, so Infantry and War Thunder might actually be happening, and after playing the second closed beta test, I've got a lot more to say. Because honestly, there's some real progress here, but also some pretty big problems that Gaijin still needs to fix in order for the game mode to thrive. So let's go ahead and hop into it. Okay, so if you didn't catch the first CBT, infantry mode was rough, like very, very rough. But now we've had a second test, and it's clear that Gaijin is actually listening and making some changes that we the players have addressed. So let's go over not only what's improved, but what's new and what still needs some serious work. So first off, some of the biggest complaints from the first test were actually addressed in the trailer when they released it and in the game mode itself when we played it. This time, there is no AI companions. It was solo gameplay of 128 players, which is honestly a humongous win. A lot of players are complaining about it, myself included. So now the matches feel way more focused on real player interaction instead of chaotic AI clutter. Now, when you played the CBT, if you did play the second one, there was bots in the lobby, but that was just to, from my perspective, just to fill up the lobbies to test if 120 people could be on there at one time. Now, I do think the AIs were cracked, and I think they were cheating because, like, sometimes, bro, like, they were doing better than real people. But there is no AI squad mate, so it's not you command 5 people and you rotate through them. No, it's just you and your other squad mates, which are real players. So not having AI companions is huge. Secondly, there's also a new map, and it's immediately noticeable. It feels more detailed, more layered, and just overall more polished than the first map that we got to play on. It actually gives infantry gameplay some depth instead of feeling like it was a test environment. While I know that it is a first map and it is a test environment, it's nice to play a closed beta test and it not really feel like I'm in a closed beta test. It feels like I'm actually playing the game that everyone else is going to soon be playing. The previous map kind of felt mid. Wasn't really crazy, wasn't any depth to it. Felt like just an average city. The map that we got to play on this time felt like you were actually, from my understanding, in the Middle East somewhere, fighting in a random village, taking over a city, trying to fight for control, and it felt amazing. Another thing is movement has also improved from the first closed beta test. Running feels a bit more smoother than before. It's not perfect yet, it's still a little clunky, but it's definitely a step in the right direction. I wish I got the screenshot of when I was playing, but I wasn't able to get it in time. Somebody said in chat when I was playing that it felt like playing infantry right now feels like taking a GoPro and strapping it to a drunk man and trying to command him using a controller. At times, it definitely feels like that. Now, again, it has improved from the first closed beta test. It still needs a lot of work to make it feel a lot more smooth and fluid, like you're actually running and you're not kind of like a robot doing so. But again, from the first CBT, it is a huge step in the right direction. This is where things start getting really interesting. Gaijin is clearly trying to add more depth to infantry gameplay, which I actually am very impressed and I respect a lot from them. We now have classes in infantry. There is the assault class, the sniper class, the specialist class, and the gunner class. And on top of that, there's things like armor types and weapon loadouts that actually affect your movement speed. So if you're heavier with armor and heavier weaponry, you're slower. If you're lighter with lighter armor and lighter weaponry, you're faster. And that kind of system is exactly what this mode needed. It adds decision making instead of just run and gun gameplay. It makes it to where picking a class actually matters. If you pick a sniper class, you can't just run into a building and try to hit a 360 no-scope. You're probably gonna die to an assault class that has a shotgun or a guy with an LMG watching a hallway. Each class has specific roles in order to really get the best out of what you should be doing in the match. For example, snipers will probably sit in a building off in the back or to the side of the map in some rubble and try to give you overwatch. The gunners either sit on rooftops or sit in the objectives and try to hold them down by mounting an LMG so they can shoot. Assault and Specialist kind of flip-flop in my opinion. That's kind of like a hybrid class. Assault usually is just a general starting point for most players. Usually you have an AR of some variety. You also have like an RPG or a drone so you can kill vehicles, but that one's usually more geared towards rifles, and you can also do medium to long range engagements. And Specialist is more of like using SMGs and being up close and personal. You also have the ability to put down health packs, and you have the ability to put down ammo as well. But each role, each class has specific things you can and cannot do, or you can succeed in and you really should not be doing, which I think is fantastic for adding depth into this game, so it doesn't just feel like a boring game mode that, okay, pick this class, you now have a RPK, go shoot stuff. So it's really good that they've added that. Now, with all that being said, I do think there's room to still expand here. An engineer class, in my opinion, would make a lot of sense. Something that could repair vehicles, or maybe even counter drones with jamming equipment. I think that would be fantastic to elevate this game to the next level. Not only because when you get shot, I know you can repair your own vehicle, but having someone that specifically is meant to repair your vehicles would be great, especially if you're in a squad of players. Each one of you can play a specific role, that way you each have jobs that you can and cannot do in the match. For the sniper class, I think they should add traps. Now, the reason I say that is because if you're sitting down holding a position, it's kind of hard to watch behind you, or if you're on a building, watch the staircase or things like that, especially if you're playing by yourself. So I think that makes so much sense for a sniper class to have something like a Claymore or a Bouncing Betty to cover their flanks. I feel like that helps add, again, a little bit more depth to that role as you are fully immersing yourself as a sniper by laying down traps, so an enemy that tries to flank and, you know, push you out of your position, you'll now not only be alerted that they're there, but possibly kill them before they hurt you. Because right now, holding a position as a sniper just feels a little bit too exposed. It feels like you don't really have any defense outside of maybe somebody staying with you. So it would be nice to have traps to cover your flank. Now, we gotta talk about the problems. We got the good stuff out of the way. I wanted to put the good stuff out there so y'all know I'm not just hating out here being a Debbie Downer. There are some big issues. That's why we gotta talk about them. The biggest issue right now, I would say, and I saw it in chat a lot as well while I was playing, is drones. They're completely unbalanced. You can literally one-tap tanks, and tanks basically have no defense against them. On top of that, it's super easy to just camp vehicles and farm kills. It's so easy to do that. It doesn't feel fair, and it definitely doesn't feel fun, especially if you're on the receiving end. That is something Gaijin has to address if they want this mode to work. Now, I get it. Drones are something that they have in real life, you know, battle, you know, that's what it does. It runs into a tank, whatever. But there's got to be some way to balance it to where there is still a reason to spawn a vehicle, because as it is now, there is no incentive to spawn a vehicle unless you want to give the enemy free score and free RP. There's no reason to. As soon as you spawn in, all they have to do is hit one button on their keyboard or controller, and the drone will already spawn in the air and can fly directly to you and just blow you up, and you can't do anything about it. So there's no real incentive to play a tank because you'll die instantly. Not only do you have to worry about RPGs shooting you from buildings that you can't really even defend yourself against, but you have to worry about drones. Now, they did make it easier to control the drones, but that goes even more to my point that they need to balance them, because now you can give a freaking drone controller to a third grader and he's taking out 1 billion of my tax dollars in the M1 Abrams that just blew up. So they really got to fix that. And as we addressed earlier, there's movement. Like I said, it has improved, but it still feels a bit clunky. It doesn't feel as fluid or responsive as it needs to be in regards for infantry combat. So while it is better than the first CBT, there's still a long way to go in regards to the movement department. That way you can fully immerse yourself and feel like you're in control of a soldier rather than a homeless guy that you paid 3 honey buns and a scratch-off ticket to go fight in a war for you. Now, all those things being said, I want to be fair. I really am actually impressed with what Gaijin put out. I know that may be a hot take, but I was genuinely impressed from the first CBT to this one. I am genuinely taken aback. The difference between the first CBT and this one is noticeable, and it shows that Gaijin is putting real effort into improving this mode. There's still a lot of work ahead, but there's also real potential here if Gaijin continues going down the road that they're going. And the one thing that I really liked out of everything that we got to see was Gaijin added a survey at the end of the CBT so players could give feedback. That is huge, because feedback is everything at this stage, and it genuinely feels like they're listening. So yeah, I may be cautiously optimistic, but I do love it. I really am impressed. If they keep improving at the pace that they're going and keep listening and implementing things that the players are really bringing up, Infantry and War Thunder might actually turn into be something really solid. At the end of the day, let me know what you guys think. Did you get to play the second CBT or even the first one? And do you think that Infantry truly belongs in War Thunder? Drop a comment down below to let me know what you guys think, because I really love hearing from you guys and getting your feedback, so that way as a community we can all come to a consensus and you guys can teach me things, or I can teach y'all things. We can always learn. And especially given this is a huge talking point right now in War Thunder, I really want to hear you guys' opinions on what you guys feel about how the second CBT compared to the first one. Or even if you didn't play it and you still have an opinion, that's valid. Let's hear it. Go ahead and drop it down below. But without further ado, I really love you guys. Thank y'all so much. I'm working on a 1,000 subscriber special. I have all the footage and I'm editing it as we speak. So that'll be out soon, and it's a lot of footage though, so it's gonna take some time. But thank y'all for watching this video. Can't wait to see the next one. And let's pray and look forward to what Gaijin is going to offer, either the next closed beta test or the next open beta test. Without further ado, y'all have a blessed one. I'll see you around. Peace.